What's up everybody, this is Master EN Gamer. Now that a bit of time has passed since the colossal Overwatch 2 info dump we got at BlizzConline, I wanted to make a video discussing what we could see going forward over the course of 2021 for both Overwatch 1 and 2, and where that could put us relative to the sequel's eventual release. While 2020 was a fairly quiet year for both games, 2021 will supposedly offer a lot more exciting news and content. So today I'm going to explore what exactly we could end up seeing over the next year or so leading up to Overwatch 2's release. Real quick before I get into it though, I just want to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you enjoy this video, as that way you'll never miss out on any future Overwatch and Overwatch 2 news and content. But now, let's discuss what else we might learn about Overwatch 2 in 2021. So first and foremost, I should reiterate the fact that it has been officially confirmed that Overwatch 2 will not be launching in 2021. While this was something we knew even before BlizzConline, it's worth keeping in mind because it gives us important context for what we can expect going forward, as it means that the game's release won't be for at least another year. It could end up being even much longer than a year, but I don't think we're going to have to wait too long overall at this point, and I'll be explaining why I think that's the case in just a minute. But first, I want to touch on what this means for Overwatch 1 during 2021, since Overwatch game director Jeff Kaplan has confirmed that there will be no more major new content for the current game prior to Overwatch 2. From here on out, Overwatch 1 will not be getting any more heroes or maps. This is something Jeff had said previously regarding Overwatch 1, but with the global pandemic during 2020, it became muddled as for what exactly Blizzard's plan going forward would be. However, BlizzConline gave us a good idea of where Blizzard stands currently with Overwatch and what we're likely to see going forward leading up to the sequel. Overwatch 1 will continue to get smaller updates, namely being balance patches and, of course, new cosmetics via events and hero challenges. Jeff has also teased that there are evidently still a number of other unexpected updates coming to the current game as well, but I would recommend managing your expectations when it comes to those. They could be some kind of nice quality of life update, or maybe even new features along the same lines as Priority Pass, but it's best not to get your hopes up for anything too big or game-changing at this point. Any major changes or new features like that are more than likely going to be reserved for Overwatch 2. However, while there might not be any new heroes or maps released over the course of 2021, Blizzard has confirmed that they will be much more vocal about Overwatch 2 and its development this year than they were back in 2020. And while BlizzConline already gave us infinitely more information about the sequel than anything we saw or heard last year, it appears that the devs still have even more to tell us as we continue through 2021. Jeff Kaplan stated in multiple interviews during BlizzConline that Blizzard's plan is to tell us more about Overwatch 2 this year, with the next big update or progress report possibly even coming as soon as March or April. Now, before you all get your hopes up and start marking your calendars, I would like to mention that Jeff has a habit of overstating how soon new Overwatch news and content will be coming. Need I remind you of that one time he said Zenyatta lore would be coming soon, more than 2 whole years before we actually ended up getting it in Symmetra's Stone by Stone short story? So while it's certainly possible that we'll be hearing more about Overwatch 2 within the next month or two, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of us actually having to wait a bit longer than that. In fact, I'd almost bet money on it being after April. Basically, we should just keep in mind that new info is coming, but don't start getting super excited for anything on the immediate horizon just yet. I will note, though, that if this does end up being one of the times where Jeff isn't over-exaggerating how soon something is coming, and we do end up getting more information in March or April, then it might very well be tied to the Archives event, which historically has run during that same time window. Not only have we seen Blizzard use the annual Overwatch events as a way of bringing attention to other announcements and reveals over the past year, but the last new hero, being Echo, was actually revealed and released onto PTR during last year's Archives event. Now, I don't think we're going to see another new hero announced for Overwatch 2 this soon, but just keep in mind that Blizzard could always blindside us with something we aren't expecting. They do have a bad habit of doing that after all, or would it be considered a good habit? I guess that one's really open to interpretation. Either way though, I'll be talking more about Archives 2021 in its own video, which I have planned to release not too long after this one, so stay tuned for that if it isn't out already. As for the actual contents of this upcoming announcement and the others across 2021, it's tough to say just yet what exactly they'll be showing us. The safest things for Blizzard to showcase in them would be more talents and hero designs for existing heroes. I could easily see them start a trend where every few months they show off a handful of each in order to maintain people's interest. But simple announcements like these will only really hold players' attention for so long. Eventually, Blizzard will have to shift into showing us more substantial sequel content in these progress reports, namely being new Overwatch 2 maps and, eventually, heroes. However, regardless of what we do end up getting in terms of new Overwatch 2 information, I can't help but wonder if Blizzard's plan is to use these updates and progress reports for Overwatch 2 as a sort of supplement to make up for the lack of Overwatch 1 content going forward. With no new maps or heroes to keep players invested, Blizzard instead will keep the community's attention with periodic announcements about the sequel. If we compare the release of Overwatch 2 to the release of the original Overwatch, Blizzard showed off new heroes, maps, and other game details through periodic updates over the year preceding Overwatch 1's release, with things really ramping up a few months prior to the game's actual launch. And not only does it now seem like this may be what Blizzard will be doing for Overwatch 2 over the course of 2021, but if it is, then it'd also be a good indicator that Overwatch 2 will be released within the next year or year and a half. Again, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up too high just yet, as this is all just speculation and we still have yet to see what any of these 2021 teasers are actually going to contain, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're reaching the point where Blizzard is soon going to start revealing more maps and heroes. Even if they're not ready to start doing that within the next few months, we could very easily end up seeing that happen by the end of this year. There's even a ton of things they might end up showing us for Overwatch 2's PvE missions and story campaign. We could easily be getting a look at more null sector enemy units, brand new enemy factions, PvE mission modes, and even story teasers building up to the events of Overwatch 2's campaign. While there may not have been an animated short for Overwatch at BlizzConline, there will almost certainly be multiple shorts for Overwatch 2 prior to its release. Overwatch 1 had 4 animated shorts released over the months leading up to its launch, not to mention the cinematic trailer that released when it was first announced. So there could be quite a bit of content like that in store for us once again during the months leading up to Overwatch 2. Honestly, looking back at the way Blizzard handled the build-up to Overwatch 1's release and all the excitement that surrounded it, gives me a lot of hope for the road ahead of us leading up to Overwatch 2. If the game ends up being as much of a sequel as Blizzard has shown and stated it to be, then they're likely going to be building up hype for it in much the same way they would with any other brand new game. We're almost certainly going to know about every single new map and playable hero before the game actually launches, so regardless of when exactly that launch ends up being, Blizzard's gonna have to start revealing that new stuff sooner or later. And with Blizzard having confirmed that more Overwatch 2 updates are coming over the course of 2021, it's only a matter of time until we start getting those juicy new details. I'm really interested in seeing what this March or April progress report ends up containing, even if it doesn't end up happening in March or April. I really doubt they'll show us any more new maps or heroes that soon, but depending on what exactly it does contain, it could offer us further insight into not only the content Blizzard is developing, but also the rate at which they're developing it. 2021 could easily be the year of building hype for Overwatch 2, and even if there isn't much coming for Overwatch 1 during that time, at least it sounds like the Overwatch community will have things to keep us invested as we inch ever closer to finally getting our hands on the sequel. But for now, thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts on what we might see in the next Overwatch 2 update by dropping a comment down below. As always, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards like getting your name at the end of my videos, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master EN Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.